Chapter 56 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. Lin Qingyi returned to his residence. He told Hua Lu and Huan Tong that there would be a guest coming tonight. Since the establishment of this residence, no guest had been to it. Huan Tong guessed that the guest would be Hu Qi, and Hua Lu said it would be a relative of the Lin residence. Neither, Lin Qingyi said. It is my adopted brother, General Gu. Huan Tong was overjoyed to hear it, and Hua Lu's face flushed with excitement. In the Dayu, Gu Fuzhao was a god of war known by all. Many of the men and women their age worshipped Gu Fuzhao. There was no need for Lin Qingyi to say more. The two of them happily got busy preparing the wine, tea, and snacks for the guest. Lin Qingyi remembered something and asked Huan Tong, "Is the thing I asked you to order ready?" "Yes, it's already in the study." After Lu Wancheng's death, he was still able to enjoy the lighting of incense from the Lu family's ancestral hall. However, the famous and honored General Gu had gone without anyone knowing that he had already laid down his life for the country, unable to enjoy the worship of later generations. Since Gu Fuzhao claimed to have gotten the chance to be reborn from saving the life of a pregnant woman, then General Gu, a good soldier who had saved countless lives, must have also gone to be reborn in another world. Regardless, Lin Qingyi still asked Huan Tong to order a blank stone tablet to be enshrined in the dark room behind the study. It was getting late. Though it was already after dinner time, Gu Fuzhao had yet to be seen. Huan Tong, who'd been keeping watch at the door, was looking around expectantly. In the end, it was Yuan Yan that he led inside. Yuan Yan told Lin Qingyi that Wu Gaogang suddenly visited the general's mansion with a couple jugs of good wine, wanting to drink and reminisce with the general. Wu Gaogang was an elder, and he had expended a lot of effort regarding this matter with the Tianji camp. The general could not refuse and said he would be late in coming over. The general also said that if it is getting too late, the imperial physician should not wait for him and go to bed first. Lin Qingyi thanked Yuan Yan and went to the study after dinner. Although Gu Fuzhao told him not to wait, how could he fall asleep knowing that Gu Fuzhao would come? It wasn't until late in the night, nearing the end of Haishi, that Lin Qingyi suddenly heard a whistle and knew that a certain someone had arrived. It stood to reason that if Gu Fuzhao had arrived, Huan Tong would announce his arrival. He had no idea what the hell that man was up to. Lin Qingyi walked out of the study and saw a black figure jump over the wall. Moving like drifting clouds and flowing water, he landed steadily on the ground. Gu Fuzhao clapped his hands and said, "Good evening, Qingyi." Lin Qingyi was expressionless. "Why do you have to climb over the wall? It's not as though I didn't leave the door unlocked for you." "What's so interesting about walking right through that front door when you're visiting a widow's house? Since we are pursuing excitement, then we have got to follow it to the end." "Who said we are pursuing excitement?" Gu Fuzhao asked knowingly. "It's not for the pursuit of excitement. Why would Imperial Physician Lin be inviting this general to visit his residence in the middle of the night?" Thinking how pitiful this person's last life had been, Lin Qingyi took a deep breath and tried his best to restrain his temper. He said patiently, "It's inconvenient to talk in the palace during the day. Come here." Lin Qingyi's house was more than a little bit smaller than the Nanan House mansion and the general's mansion. Gu Fuzhao looked around and said, "I have given you so much property. You could have bought a mansion as big as the Nanan house." Lin Qingyi said, and be accused of overstepping my authority by the imperial censor? There's only a handful of people in my house. Why would I need to make it so big? The two headed to the study. The study had two rooms, the inner and outer room. The outer room was lined with bookshelves, and the long table in front of the window was where Linchingi spent his time hunched over his books. If he got tired from reading and writing, he would go to the inner room to rest for a while. As soon as Gu Fuzhao entered the inner room, he saw the bunk bed he had designed for him and Linchingi to sleep in. Gu Fuzhao was momentarily stunned, and then he laughed out loud. "Why did you bring this here too?" Linchingi said. "The place didn't come furnished with a bed." He wasn't counting on Gu Fuzhao to believe such a clumsy lie. With Gu Fuzhao's current height, standing on the ground, he was much taller than this bed. He reached out and touched the silk quilt on the top bunk. In the past, Linchingi slept here and accompanied him through nights of being tortured by illness. Gu Fuzhao turned to look at Linchingi and smiled. His pupils were dark, but his eyes were bright, reflecting Linchingi's face. Under his gaze, Linchingi felt inexplicably uneasy. In addition to the smell of pen, ink, paper, and inkstone, there was also the faint scent of medicine in the study. Linchingi lowered his eyes and said softly, "Didn't you drink with Wu Gong? Why isn't there even the slightest smell of alcohol on your body?" Gu Fuzhao curled his lips. "I took a shower before I came to see you. You know how much I value you." "What? Is it important to take a bath before seeing me?" "Yes," Gu Fuzhao said as though he were simply stating the truth. "This is the highest courtesy." He wanted to show his best side to Linchingi, and he constantly worried that he didn't appear handsome enough in front of him. He was very strange. He considered himself to be someone of passable appearance, but there were times when he wasn't confident in the face of the person he liked. Linchingi smiled lightly. "This is the first time I have heard of such a statement." Gu Fuzhao's breathing gradually became unstable. The effect of Wu Gong's wine was pretty strong. He had felt fine after drinking, but now it was starting to rise to his head. Gu Fuzhao sat down on the bottom bunk, supported himself by propping his arm behind him. He said in a lazy tone, "Chingyu, I'm a little drunk." Linchingi said, "Should I make you some sobering soup?" Gu Fuzhao shook his head. "Sobering soup is useless. Let's get down to business first. Even Wu Gong has heard about the matter of the emperor wanting to betroth the seventh princess to me. He kept congratulating me as we were drinking, saying he would accept my future son as his disciple. Is there any way you can make the emperor change his mind?" Linchingi calmed his mind and said, "The seventh princess is the emperor's youngest daughter, and the emperor has always regarded her as the pearl in his palm. You are a great general, brave and skilled in battle, having great achievements in battle. Pairing you with her, naturally, you make the ideal couple. But if you are suffering from some hidden disease, the emperor naturally wouldn't be willing to marry her to you as a grass widow." Suffering from some hidden illness? A grass widow? Gu Fuzhao reacted and stood up suddenly, saying in disbelief, "Linchingi, are you trying to infuriate me to death?" Linchingi said indifferently, "No." Gu Fuzhao said enigmatically, "All right then, I thought you were trying to get me to drop dead from anger so you could go find yourself a girl to marry." If I wanted to find a girl to marry, why would I need to infuriate you to death first? Lin Qingyu said strangely. Can't I find one while you're alive? Gu Fuzhao was stunned for a moment, then laughed from anger. This conversation is just too beautiful, brother. Your statement is so grounded and reasonable that I can't refute at all. Lin Qingyu said softly. You're confident in my medical skills? We are just going to make you impotent for the time being. When attention is drawn away from you, I will make it so that you can get it up again. When you were still Lu Cheng, weren't you able to accept this quite well? Dude, no, please, like he has already PTSD. You can't just make him impotent and non-impotent, randomly. I was forced to. Back then, it was to save my life. How could I quibble about that? But it's different now, Gu Fuzhao said solemnly. I must live with dignity. Lin Qingyu emphasized. It's temporary. It won't do, even if it is temporary, Gu Fuzhao sneered. Earlier, you said for the sake of General Gu's reputation, you wouldn't let him carry the title of male wife. Now, you're just going to make him put on the impotent hat? Does your conscience not stink? Lin Qingyu thought for a while. What you say makes sense. If they were to make Gu Fuzhao impotent and this matter was publicized by busybodies, Gu Fuzhao would lose face and it might even affect his prestige in the army. If that's the case, then the only way is. Gu Fuzhao was half angry and couldn't help but answer. For you to marry me? For us to find a way to send both the Emperor and Shao Chang to the west together. Lin Qingyu said it so lightly, like he was talking about killing 2 chickens and making soup. If the Emperor doesn't die, your betrothal is inevitable. If the Emperor dies and Shao Chang ascends the throne, our situation will only be more difficult. Lin Qingyu's eyes darkened and his voice dropped. Unless they both die and some other prince takes over the throne. Gu Fuzhao was quiet, not too surprised. Lin Qingyu dared to attack the crown prince. How different was that from outright killing him? Imperial physician Lin's setup is getting bigger and bigger, Gu Fuzhao said with a smile. Is it possible that you even want to make the emperor a puppet, having him in your power and ordering the nobles in his name? Lin Qingyu raised his eyes slightly. Why not? He had no interest in the country or state power. He just wanted to study medicine with peace of mind. But they just keep coming one after another, provoking him and Gu Fuzhao. It was tiresome and he was sick of it. It would be better to just thoroughly carry it through to support a new emperor who was close to them and would never trouble them. Gu Fuzhao thought for a while and said, The emperor's princes have died in the battle for succession 3 years ago. Those who died have died, and those who gave up have given up. Now, apart from Shao Chang, there is only Shao Jie and Shao Li left. Shao Li is a fool. Even if he is the son of the former wife, he won't be able to inherit the throne. So, that leaves us with Shao Jie, a beautiful idiot. Lin Qingyu grasped the key point. You think he's beautiful? Ooh, are you jealous, Lin Qingyu? Gu Fuzhao's survival instinct suddenly kicked in and he corrected himself and joked. It's so-so. That's what every husband says when his wife asks, Is that girl beautiful? You get used to it when you see it a lot, unlike Imperial Physician Lin, who is not only a stunner at first glance, but also grows more beautiful the more you look. It's completely different. Lin Qingyu nodded coldly and said, if Xiao Jie is an idiot, he will be even easier for us to control. Gu Fuzhao disagreed. There is someone pretty smart next to Xiao Jie. I'm afraid it won't be us doing the controlling. Who? You should have seen that person before. He used to be a little eunuch who served Xiao Jie. Later, he grew up to be a proper eunuch and left the palace with Xiao Jie to build his mansion. Now, he is the steward of Xiao Jie's mansion. Lin Qingyu remembered that there was such a person. Is this guy smart? You can count him among the top 3 in the Dayu, Gu Fuzhao said. And because of his physical deficiency, this person is paranoid, sinister, and ruthless. Dealing with him will take some brains. The furrow in Lin Qingyu's brows loosened. These are all things for later, which is when we will talk about it. The most urgent thing is to think about how to kill those 2 people. Taking the emperor's life wasn't difficult. He was severely ill to begin with. With a little change to his prescription, he could make the emperor appear as though he were dying from aggravated illness. After all is said, the most troublesome one was Shao Cheng. Gu Fuzhao also thought of this. Shao Cheng doesn't drink medicine, he only eats things from the Eastern Palace. Having learned from his previous mistake, using incense isn't an option either. If poisoning is impossible, the only possible opening is Lin Qingyu took over. Shen Hao She. Gu Fuzhao nodded. But Qingyu, I can't wait very long. According to the emperor's intentions, he wants to set down this marriage immediately. If our plan is successful, the matter of the marriage will be left unsettled. If it fails, it won't be too late to discuss our remarriage. Gu Fuzhao concluded. That is to say, whether we get remarried depends on when Shao Cheng dies. Lin Qingyu nodded. That's right. Gu Fuzhao said, a complicated expression on his face. This mood has suddenly become quite subtle. I was originally hoping that Shao Cheng would die immediately. Lin Qingyu's voice turned slightly cold. Don't you want him to now? Gu Fuzhao smiled and said, Then I still do want him to. Follow what the wife says.